So something I think I've touched on in a few videos, but I guess I want to single in on more so today. So the whole thing with our government and voting and the two-party system that we have now, which I kind of believe has always been there. There were always people that were in different areas because they refused to choose openly which side they really stood for. But that being said, the whole thing I've come to see has never really been, especially in the U.S., a natural thing. It's always been between the fight between the, well, not so much the fight, but the competition, the battle between the left and the right has always been a spiritual battle. And the reason I think it's important to see this is to realize that because the best way to fight your enemy is to first know what he is using to try to defeat you, recognize it, so that you can guard yourself and defend yourself properly against it, and to also recognize his weaknesses. So to first point out the weakness of the enemy is you knowing the truth and being aware. The biggest weakness you have is resisting Satan. And to resist him when it comes to something like this, where you're actively participating in the things that, sorry for all the uhs, and I don't know why that's happening. A lot of brain pauses. In order to actively participate in the upholding of our country, then these are the things that we take part in, because we have a country where it is open. And that is something very special, because everyone does not have that. Everyone does not have that ability to really stand up for in a more definite way the things that are happening in their country. I don't want to go off on the conspiracy theorist road right now with elections, but I know people who are we call them legal immigrants, but once you have gone through the work and the effort to become a United States citizen, you're just another American to me. I don't see you any different than myself. You're just another American. You did the work. You put in the time. You put in the work. You put in the effort. You didn't have to erase your culture, but you did not come in and try to erase my culture, but you assimilated. You're an American. I don't need to put something else ahead of that. If you choose to, that's fine, but you're an American. You're here. You belong here as much as I do. But that side journey, as usual. I know some who they came from places like Mexico, and they still care about people there because that was their original home, and they see how in the government they have instances where people who are trying to stand up for the actual people that live there have been have had elections literally stolen from them, even when the people were pushing for that person to be there. And this is something that we have to be cautious and aware of is possible if we let the behaviors of other places to creep in and overthrow our Constitution and what we stand for as a country. That was only a partial side trip, but it was kind of just to build what I'm saying. We have we have a difference from many other countries in this world, being a republic, democratic republic, and we, well, let me not side trip even more. The reason I say that we have to recognize the weapons and the devices that the enemy uses against us is because then you can not only defend yourself against them, but you don't fall for the trick. One of the biggest tricks that the enemy has pulled was convincing people who are saved that paying attention to what goes on over their country, the people they vote in and out, that they are not supposed to take part in that because that's a worldly thing that's happening. First off, that's not what it says in the word. The word, it tells you to stand up for your country. It tells you to be careful about the people that you let into high places, especially when you actually have something to do with it, which is the advantage that we have here in this country. If the power of Christ is in the hands of the saved people and they are not putting in any work towards the things going on around them, then they are literally handing over all the victories to the evil, to the wicked people of the world. People don't realize that's what happens when you step back. You say, oh, I don't have anything to do with that. You're saying, let the wicked choose for me, because free will is still going to exist. The things that happen in this world are still going to happen. But you're standing back and just letting the other person do it. It's the same thing as if you have a house and someone's coming to break in your house, and you just stand on the inside and say, I'm not a police officer. I'm just gonna call the police. But they're actively coming in. So they're going, when by the time the police get there, they've come in, they've attacked your family. You all are in danger, and you stood and you did nothing. But you had the power. You had all the weapons that you needed in your house to fend that person off. But you said, that's not my problem because that is not what I'm meant to do. And I'm sorry, you are meant to defend your home. And the thing is, as saved people, then we have the upper hand in this, because when we make our decisions, then we can do them guided by the one who knows what the outcome will be depending on our decisions. And so we can go to him for clarity on what decisions to make. So that's one of the biggest weapons that he uses against us. He fools you and thinks you're not supposed to be involved in this, and then everybody backs off. And then they look down on the people that do take part, and they're trying to fight for it. But we're fighting with less power because the people who are supposed to be helping us are looking at us like we're doing something we're not supposed to be. Secondly, Satan plays the long game. He's been in politics from the beginning because he knew that if he can get up there at our head, and start putting little things in that are against God and the godly way, then it trickles down and it affects the people of God. We still have to live with the things that are going on around us. If there are terrible laws being put out in our country, like here in Chicago, with this horrible mayor and this horrible governor, they are so anti-Christ. If bad people had not voted them in, and uninformed people had not voted them in, then we would not have to deal with some of the terrible things that are happening here. The crime as is running rampant as it is, this is on the heads of those who stood back and did nothing. So we put power in his hands. Safe people are constantly saying how, he has no power over me that I don't give him. You're giving it to him constantly for the things that you're saying you're not a part of. He's been playing the long game, and it's coming to a head where it's become so obvious. Now you can't overlook it. But for those of us who have been seeing it from the beginning, first off, I'm sorry for what you had to go through, for the people who acted like you were crazy and treated you like you were not doing the right thing. I understand that. But also, good on you for looking deeper, and for fighting for us. I'm sure there's more I could have said on this, but I just want to say, let's watch out more clearly for the things that you are calling a worldly involvement, when it's really you doing your duty as a Christian and an American. Be blessed.